World Rugby signals major shift as 20-minute red card nears permanent adoption as World Rugby prepares for one of its most consequential meetings in recent years. The future of the controversial 20-minute red card appears closer to being settled than ever before. Ahead of the pivotal shape of the game conference later this month, World Rugby Chairman Brett Robinson has offered the strongest indication yet that the law variation, long debated, fiercely criticized, and passionately defended, is on track to become a permanent feature of the sport's lawbook. While the 20-minute red card has polarized players, coaches, unions, and fans across both hemispheres, Robinson's latest comments suggest that the governing body believes consensus is finally emerging, following what he describes as quite positive findings from its global elite-level trial. With the countdown to the 2027 Rugby World Cup now firmly underway, the upcoming meeting represents the final realistic opportunity to embed non-safety-specific law changes into the game before the sport's next global showpiece. A law that has divided the game, the 20-minute red card has been one of rugby's most contentious innovations of the professional era. Under the law, a player shown a red card is permanently removed from the match, but after 20 minutes, their team is allowed to bring on a replacement, unlike the traditional red card, which leaves a side shorthanded for the remainder of the contest. Supporters argue that the law strikes a better balance between punishment and spectacle, ensuring that matches are not effectively decided by a single incident early on. Critics, however, fear it could dilute accountability and potentially undermine rugby's long-standing commitment to player welfare. The trial's roots lie in Super Rugby Pacific, where the law has been tested for several seasons. Its perceived success there prompted World Rugby to expand the trial, first approving it for elite competitions and then rolling it out globally during the 2024 November Internationals. Strong resistance from the Northern Hemisphere despite backing from several Southern Hemisphere unions, resistance has been fierce in the North. France were particularly vocal in their opposition ahead of the 2024 end-of-year tests. The French Rugby Federation, FFR, warned that the law could encourage dangerous behavior, arguing that reducing the severity of team punishment risked lowering the deterrent effect of a red card. Ireland also expressed reservations before the 2025 Six Nations, with the IRFU emphasizing that player welfare and safety was paramount and urging caution before any permanent adoption. Those concerns highlighted a broader issue that has long plagued global rugby governance: the perceived hemispheric divide in how the game should be played, officiated, and evolved. World Rugby's long road to a decision in May of last year, World Rugby formally approved the global elite-level trial of the 20-minute red card. In announcing the decision, the governing body stressed that it followed an extensive review of successful closed trials conducted in international and elite club rugby over the past year. That approval marked the penultimate step in World Rugby's lawmaking process. The final hurdle is the shape of the game conference, where unions will vote on whether the trial should be written permanently into the lawbook. If approved, the 20-minute red card would become a standard sanction across elite rugby, a fundamental shift in how the sport balances discipline, safety, and entertainment. Robinson's frustration with the pace of change until recently. Robinson himself appeared skeptical that rugby's governance structures were capable of delivering decisive reform. Speaking last year on the Rugby Unity podcast, the World Rugby chairman expressed frustration at how slowly trials move from experimentation to resolution. "I don't think we are moving at a good pace," Robinson said at the time. "We have a cultural problem in our game that involves us wanting to move all the world together. And that's hard because you have different perspectives on how the game should be played, and it's hemispheric." His comments reflected a long-standing challenge for World Rugby: how to modernize the sport while keeping its diverse global family aligned. There'll be alternate views, and we don't have a system that really enables that to move quickly, Robinson added. "That's something I've also challenged us to reconsider as to how we get the work done." A shift in tone ahead of the shape of the game meeting, however. Speaking this week at the official release of the 2027 Rugby World Cup fixtures, Robinson struck a noticeably more optimistic tone. Rather than lamenting division, he suggested that the sport is now more aligned than at any point in its history. A significant statement, given rugby's long-documented struggles between North and South. I actually think we're better than we've ever been, Robinson told reporters. If you go back sort of 50 or 60 years, there was always this battle around the North and the South and the positioning of the product. He pointed to the professional era as a period of ongoing tension, but insisted that modern governance structures are finally bearing fruit. Early on in the years of professionalism, there was still a lot of pressure, but now we have a group of people, chaired by Abdul Benazi as the chair of the Rugby Committee. We are more united than we've ever been. Those comments are widely seen as a signal that the key stakeholders are converging around shared priorities, including how best to manage discipline without compromising the integrity of the contest. Positive findings from the global trial crucially. Robinson also revealed that the early data from the global trial of the 20-minute red card has been encouraging. I mean, there is nuance around that, he said. So we're clearly going through a trial around the use of the 20-minute red card that obviously has been trialed a lot down here. By down here, Robinson was referring to the Southern Hemisphere, where Super Rugby Pacific has provided years of practical evidence. Fortunately, now that's a global trial, and I think the initial findings of that are quite positive, he continued. While Robinson stopped short of confirming a final outcome, his choice of words strongly suggests that World Rugby believes the law has met its key objectives, maintaining players' safety while preventing matches from becoming non-competitive due to a single incident. Information sharing key to unity. Robinson acknowledged that resistance to the law had often stemmed from unfamiliarity rather than outright opposition. That's a good example of where there's a challenge often in bringing the family together, he said. But once we share information and share learnings, it certainly lands us in a much better place. His remarks underline World Rugby's belief that data-driven decision-making, rather than emotion or tradition, must guide the sport's evolution. But we still have work to do, Robinson added. And we all agree that the stakes, Rugby World Cup 2027, the timing of the shape of the game meeting, is critical. World Rugby has made it clear that the 2026 July Internationals, which form part of the inaugural Nations Championship, represent the last major window for law changes that are not strictly player safety driven. Any adjustments made after that point would risk destabilizing preparations for the 2027 Rugby World Cup result. The upcoming meeting is widely viewed as the final chance to lock in the 20-minute red card or abandon it altogether before the global spotlight turns fully toward Australia 2027. Super Rugby Pacific continues to push innovation. Robinson's comments come shortly after Super Rugby Pacific confirmed that it will continue to act as a testing ground for innovation, with further law trials scheduled ahead of the 2026 season. The competition has become a crucial laboratory for World Rugby, providing real-world evidence on how law variations affect match flow, officiating, and player behavior. That relationship has strengthened the Southern Hemisphere's influence on the global lawmaking process and, increasingly, provided reassurance to more skeptical unions, a turning point for rugby governance. While no final decision has yet been made, Robinson's comments suggest that momentum is building behind the 20-minute red card. For a sport often criticized for indecision and conservatism, the possibility of permanent adoption would mark a significant shift, not just in law, but in philosophy. Whether the change will ultimately satisfy critics remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. The shape of the game meeting will shape rugby's disciplinary framework for years to come. And if Brett Robinson's optimism is any indication, the game may finally be ready to move forward together.